back into it in Chester. Here's El Senior. Yes! Yeah!
The center back, Jacob Glesnes.
He's going through. Yes! Oh, my God! What a goal! And that will do it! One of the best comebacks in recent years. 3 unanswered by the Union. And they go into the Gold Cup break, winning it 3-2.
Hello, welcome to the Free Kick Podcast. My name is Todd. Well, like I told you guys on Twitter, this is going to be a brand new thing that I've not done before. Shout out to Rich Laurie, who is in the Spaces spot right now, because we are live right now on Twitter, trying out this Spaces feature. If people are into this, we can make this a weekly tradition for every Union away game. But like we all just saw, the Philadelphia Union have just beaten Atlanta United 3-0 in the first leg in the CONCACAF Champions League. So Tyler, you're in here right now. Just your thoughts. Go ahead. What are your thoughts for seeing the Union go down and blow out Atlanta United? I mean, where do we start?
My mic is muted.
There we go. Go ahead, Tyler. I mean, just look. We saw the Union have a terrible first half. Union Twitter was not happy at all. Going 0-0. Andre Blake, I think had 5 or 6 saves in the first half. There is no way the Union should have been going into the break tied 0-0. But Andre Blake shows out and shows that, hey, look, 2019, where you guys have heard me on the podcast say multiple times, yeah, maybe we need a new goalkeeper, Andre Blake. Maybe he's not that guy. And Andre Blake proves us wrong by winning Goalkeeper of the Year last season and continued his fine form this season with yet his third clean sheet in the CONCACAF Champions League, and none bigger than this against Atlanta United, whose attack was on fire in that first half. And even towards the end of the second half, they really brought it against the Union. But what a game, right? 0-0 at halftime, 3-0 to see the Union win. Tyler, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I think I speak for everybody when I say that I totally agree. Atlanta was the clear dominant team. And in the first half, I mean, the press was unlockable for Philadelphia Union. It felt like there was a lot of really high intensity points where Atlanta definitely should have scored. And I think you made a great point in saying that Blake made 6 huge saves before the Union even had a shot. And I think hands down, man of the match in my eyes. I know a lot of people are going to say Casper for the goal, but I mean, Blake definitely proved why he was keeper of the year for sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, without Andre Blake making their saves, this could have been a totally different ballgame. I mean, to go into halftime tied 0-0, that really allows Jim Curtin to say, okay, look, let's catch our breath. Let's go ahead and make some changes. And now I know people are like, oh, Jim Curtin, he never makes changes. He never makes substitutions. We're just going to see the same starting 11 out there in the second half that we saw in the first half. And what to do? Brings on Sergio Santos, who was a difference maker. I mean, look, Casper obviously got the 2 goals. Like you said, Andre Blake had 5-6 saves. Probably should win man of the match, even though everybody loves goal scorers. And Casper had 2 huge goals. Could have had the hat trick. And we saw him lay the ball off to Anthony Fontana. I mean, it doesn't get any more unselfish than that, and because we all know strikers love to score, and to see Anthony Fontana do what he does best, scoring goals coming off the bench, you love to see it.
Oh yeah, immediate impact from Fontana again. I think Hulky put it best when he said that Atlanta got Delawared, and that's exactly what happened. Casper, very unselfish. I mean, I think I speak for everybody. I thought he was going to shoot the ball and go for the hat trick. It was a nice surprise to see him lay it off with Fontana.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I mean, I thought he was going to score. Look, even our boy Sergio Santos had a chance to score there. Brad Guzan comes up with a big save. If you would have told me that this game was going to end 3-0 to the Philadelphia Union, I don't think I would have believed you. We have a couple of other people in here. We have Ed, Mike, we have Tim, we have Rich, and the guys from the Stateside Soccer Podcast. I'm not sure who all is. Look, like I said, this is the first time using this app. I know there's a way for people to say they want to speak. So if anybody else wants to get in here and speak, go for it. But look, I wrote down on my phone that in the first half. It sucks. Look, I think we should talk about El Brujo's going to miss the second leg with the second yellow card. But look, at the same time, the Union scored 3 goals. So how much of a factor is that really going to be? I mean, yeah, it sucks losing El Brujo, but we scored 3 goals, so I don't think it's really going to make that much of a difference. I guess you put Leon Flock in the number 6 now. There's a couple of other things you can do. I know you can put Jack Elliott there. God forbid, I don't want to see Jack Elliott in the number 6 when Leon Flock, you brought him in to make up for when Jose Martinez gets that occasional red card or, he just needs a break. We know Ali Badori could also fill in at the number 6. So we do have flexibility. Maybe Jim Curtin doesn't even go with a 4-4-2 Damian, but just having 3 goals makes a world of difference going into the second leg in Chester.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think, again, you're right that the Union can totally sit back this game. And I think I got to give credit to Jim. This is a manager who's not used to being in the spotlight. And ever since Philly have made the title run to win the Supporters' Shield, I think a lot of the media has turned that attention. I think he has absolutely been perfect in his decisions. And I do get the critiques for the substitutions, but I think everyone is tactical, and Philadelphia has always been a next man up system. So I'm sure El Brujo will be missed, but he will be replaced. And I think the Union go uneasy in the second leg.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is the next man up. We know it. Fans all the time call for the Union to spend some of that Mark McKenzie, Brendan Aaron some money to go ahead and sign that DP level player. And look, it hasn't happened. I don't think it's going to happen. But it's always been a case of next man up. And Ernst Tanner, I know, has talked about it before in press conferences, saying, look, when you bring in these big superstars, they're the highest paid players on the team. Sometimes, that can upset a locker room where you bring in these big superstars who have big egos, Latan. They're getting paid a lot of money, and they might not fit in with the locker room that well. And so I do think Ernst Tanner, Jim Curtin, Chris Albright, they've done a very, very, very good job building this team where it's not relying on one individual. It relies on every single player on the team to do their part. We saw that with Leon Flock. Look, for whatever reason, people always complain about Leon Flock on Twitter, say, oh, he doesn't do enough for me. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. What more do you want for him? Like, Jim Curtin talked about this in his press conference before, right? Where he said, Leon Flock does so much things that don't show up on the stat sheet. And I feel like there's soccer fans out there that are just casual fans, there's diehard fans, and then there's just people like, it's soccer. And Leon Flock does so much, like Jim said, that cheers up, that's not on the score sheet, that's not on the stat sheet. And tonight he proved that with his pressing. He got himself on some tight corners. Him and I thought Kai Wagner linked up well on the left side of the field. When the Union got caught up too high up the field with Kai Wagner, Leon Flock hustled back there to, kind of stop that attack for Atlanta. Same with El Brujo. I thought, we saw on the right side of the field too. I think it was in the second half. Mbaizo gets pushed up the field a little bit too much, and who comes over and covers for him? Ali Bedoya couldn't come back. And so we see Jacob Glesnes go and try to get the ball. His tackle wasn't strong enough, and then Jack Elliott slides and gets the ball to go out for a goal kick. And it's always that next man up, and that's what I love about this team. I think that's what's so likable about this team is, look, everybody wants a big superstar, but this team's just so likable. They all fight for each other.
Oh, yeah, and I think you're completely 100% right. This team doesn't have like a glorified high horse Zlatan-esque player or that Chicharito household name, but I mean that's not what Philadelphia is about. At least the Union. I mean, this team has been shining homegrown prospects and homegrown signings at all times, and I think we're going to see a lot more of that. And I do agree with you on Flack. He's not a flashy player, but he gets the job done, and I think that's exactly the role he needs to fill in the Union, and he's coming in and doing that perfect.
Hey, Tyler, you're getting that Leon Flock jersey. Flack, sorry. I feel like we are definitely going to see a decent amount of Leon Flock jerseys in Subaru Park. I mean, this guy is just so likable. He's 20 years old, too, and I think that's something a lot of people are forgetting. Like, I think they said on the broadcast when Leon was over with St. Pauli, he only played 30 minutes of soccer in 2021. And here he is. As soon as he gets signed for the Union, he gets thrown in against Saprissa, impresses down in Costa Rica, gets another start against Saprissa in the second leg, impresses against them, gets a start against Columbus, impresses against Columbus, gets a start against Inter Miami, does his job against them, then goes into Atlanta, impresses again. A 20-year-old kid. Ernst Tanner, like, I know we joke about it on Twitter, say, oh, Ernst Tanner needs a statue, Ernst Tanner this, like, no, honestly, Ernst Tanner does need a statue, I think. Like, I know you make statues when people die or when they're not at the club anymore, but yeah, let's get Ernst Tanner his statue right now.
It can go right next to the Kevin Durant statue.
Get right there. How about this? I don't know if Ernst would be interested in doing this. I don't even know if he has enough money. Let's get Ernst Tanner to buy the Union. How about that? He can go ahead and be the sporting director, and he can be the owner. I don't even know if that's allowed in MLS, but that would be awesome, right?
Oh yeah, and then he'll get picked up by the Nets and play a power forward. So he'll just live KD's life.
Yeah, there we go. So I saw that we have my man Brad Fair in here, and Brad just went to his very first Philadelphia Union game. New fan of Philadelphia Union. This guy used to produce the show for Tyler and I when we were talking about the Premier League, and so glad that Brad decided to, hop on board the Philadelphia Union train. Look, I told him, you live in Knoxville. Why not be a fan of Nashville? I know Knoxville to Nashville's, an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe. Maybe my time's a little bit wrong. But look, Brad said, no, look, I'd listened to the show after I stopped producing it. You've convinced me to be a Philadelphia Union fan. And he goes and picks the best game he could possibly have picked in the game against Atlanta. Now, I've sent Brad the invite to go ahead and join to speak. So I guess whenever Brad clicks on that invite to speak, we'll hear from him.
Definitely want a first-hand account.
Yeah, definitely. Like, he called me before we went live on here, and you've got to hear his stories that he said, what he said about the Atlanta United fans. I mean, typical Atlanta fans, I'll say, right? So hopefully Brad can figure out how to accept the invite to not be a listener, to be a speaker. But I'm just curious, and I'm sure people listening are definitely going to want to hear a firsthand experience. And look, anybody else that's listening that knows people that went to the game, hey, tell them we're live right now on Twitter Spaces. I want to hear from them. I want to hear from their experience down in Atlanta, because it's going to have been a better game for people to go to. But Brad, I see you accepted it. So how are you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Good. I had to turn my mic on. Apparently I didn't allow mic access to Twitter. So I had to go in there and turn that on.
Yeah. I didn't allow mic access either on my phone, and it took me a while. Because I was telling you before, I was like, no, I'm going to do Spaces. And I was reading, and I thought it said I can do it on my laptop. Apparently I can't do that yet. So it's only for Android and Apple. Hey, look, happy it's on Android, so we're able to do this. And it took me a little bit to get it figured out to, okay, how do I get my phone to connect to the Twitter thingy-majingy. Got figured out and everything. And, that's what I love about this Rodecaster. Record everything through the Bluetooth functionality. Hopefully my mic sounds good to everybody. And just Brad, like I was saying, I don't know if you heard, you couldn't have picked a better Union game to go to than this game against Atlanta United in the quarterfinals of the Champions League.
Oh, yeah, no, it could have been a better game. The Atlanta fans were definitely hyped. But, they started to die down a little bit there, go as the second half went on. It just went from hype about the game to just bitterness about what's happening.
Yeah, I bet. They were... You said something about them saying, "Oh, we have more trophies than you guys," or something.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, of course, the United fans that were near the Union supporter section, of course, they're going to give us a bunch of guff just for being Union fans. But how many trophies do you have? How many trophies do you have? Or how many MLS Cups do you have? And it's like, we don't have any MLS Cups. You have yours. But that was 2018, bro. Like, stop living in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. It's like we just like we're playing right now in the future, right now in the present. So not the future. We're playing right here in the present, and we're beating you in your own house where you guys have never lost a CONCACAF Champions League game at home, and we've come down here and beat you guys 3-0. Like Andre Blake, man of the match. I know you got to the game in the second half, so you weren't able to see anything in the first half. But I don't know if like the fans were talking about just how well Andre Blake played in the first half, but it could have been a totally different game for you to get into that stadium in the second half. Like the Union could have been down 2-3-0, started the second half, and it could have been game over for the Union, but they weren't because Andre Blake came up huge with, I'd say, at least 3 to 4 big saves. Denied Jürgen Damm on the counterattack on a 1v1 situation, I believe it was, in the first 10 minutes of the game. Andre Blake had a kick save, excellent save from Blake. And Union just very fortunate that we have Andre Blake as a goalkeeper and we were able to go into the half tied 0-0. But, man,
He came in clutch even in the second half a couple times. There's a lot of Andre Blake chants from the supporter section, that's for sure.
The Andre Blake.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
it was fun, man. Everyone that was there, like I said, there was maybe 30, 35 of us there. Everybody was super friendly. But at the same time, also very, very hyped for the Union. Absolutely made our presence known up there. Everyone knew where the Union section was.
Oh, I know what I'm curious about. So, after the game, did they like make you guys like wait in your away section, or did they let you guys leave with the Atlanta fans?
Oh yeah, no, we definitely waited. We took pictures, all of that I'm sure will get posted on somebody's social media. But yeah, we waited for most of the stadium to clear out. But either way, that's when I called you, Todd. It was loud. It was loud for Union chants all pretty much the entire way out of the stadium.
That's how it should be, right? And I mean, I
That's
can't
how
wait.
It should be, man. We got to make these people know that we just came into their house and did them dirty like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I cannot. Yeah, we did. Glad to have you back, Tyler. I honestly, cannot.
Good to be back.
Like I cannot wait to go to Subaru Park on Saturday. Look, I know it's an MLS game, right? But that place is going to be rocking after the Union lose 2-1. And I'm sorry, guys. I said, oh, yeah, I'm going to record a podcast. Never did. I was like, oh, let's go ahead and do something different with Spaces. And I'm running out of space storage to post episodes for the month of April on the podcast. So I was like, do I try something new with Spaces, or do I give my preview, my review about the Inter Miami game? I'm like, let me go ahead and try the Spaces thing. Oh, by the way, for everybody that's listening, either tomorrow or Wednesday, on Thursday or Friday, I should have Roberto Abramowitz, who's the commentator, play-by-play voice for NYCFC, coming onto the podcast. We're just trying to get the time and date arranged, but looking forward to having him come onto the podcast. We should be good to go. I just need to get, like I said, time and date confirmed. I've talked to him, and he's like, yeah, I'll get back to you. So hopefully he really does, but yeah, Subaru Park is going to be rocking because, look, that place was – there were some groans. People were upset on Twitter. We saw that against Inter Miami, and it's like, great. We play like this against Inter Miami. How are we going to go down to Atlanta where they were coming off a 3-1 victory over Chicago? Barco looked amazing against Chicago. And we're facing Joseph Martinez, who scored 7 goals in the last 7 games against the Philadelphia Union. And it's like, okay, look, yeah, we know we played Saprissa well. We played Columbus okay, but there's no reason why we should have lost to Atlanta United. The defense looks just so shaky. Jacob Lesnes did not look that great. And, yeah, the Union go down and keep a clean sheet. And everybody pulled apart, but that first goal, the Casper scored off the corner kick, what was the feeling like to see that going?
Oh, dude! As soon as you don't realize how fast that happens because, like you said, this is my first. It wasn't just my first Union game. It's actually my first soccer game in general. But it happens so quick, where you don't realize it's in until you see the back of the net move. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so as soon as it goes in, dude, it feels like we're, surrounded by a bunch of Union fans, even though we're in Atlanta, because just everyone around there had so much energy. It feels like each one of the goals that they scored tonight.
It was great. And look,
they definitely brought a lot of energy.
They did it. And
got a lot of energy back from the nearby Atlanta fans, but it's okay. We couldn't hear them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you guys are doing all your chants. Out of curiosity, like you said, this is your first ever soccer game you went to, first Union game you went to. So back home in Subaru Park, Keystone State Ultras, one of the other supporters group, in 2019 they started a chant that went sha la 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 sha la 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 hey Philadelphia. Woo. Did you guys by chance do that chant? I know sometimes they do that at the away games.
No, I didn't hear that one.
You guys duped, of course, though, right?
There's what now?
I said you guys duped. Dupe.
Yeah. No, there was they sent out a list of or at least they sent out like what chants they were going to have, they were going to be doing in Atlanta. I only sort of briefly glanced at it, and so I don't know I can't tell you what chant it was they had going there for a while.
Yeah, it's all good. Hey, Tyler, you're still here.
Shout out to the away supporters for organizing that.
Absolutely. I was going to say, look, Tyler and I can speak. Look, I know Mike Thomas is listening right now. So when Tyler and I were still doing the Premier League show, in 2019, we went to our first Union game against Toronto, the home opener. I'm laughing because like this episode was so bad, and I know Mike Thomas was like, "Oh, let's hear it." Like,
was this the episode we recorded in the car?
Yeah, it is. And,
oh boy!
Yeah, Tyler and I sat in the opposite section of the stadium, so we sat in 117, I think it was, beyond the goal, and we're like, "Oh, this sucks!" Like Tyler and I were trying to stand up the whole time. People were like, "Sit down. You're only supposed to stand up on corner kicks," and we're like, "They don't do it in England. Like we want to support our team," and so we're like, "Okay, fine. We'll only stand up for." Corner kicks. And so I remember we said after the game, we are never sitting here again. Let's go sit in the River End. So I remember, I forget what game was our first game in the River End against New England. Was that the game where they won 6-1? I can't remember.
I believe it was New England.
Yeah, it might have been that. And so I understand, Brad, because once Tyler and I went our first time sitting in the River End. Yeah, we didn't know any of the chants either, other than dupe. I mean, we saw 6 goals on the night, so dupe's really, really easy to pick up on. So, but I think after
started my own chant.
You did. After a couple times of hearing the chants over and over again, you start to pick up on it. But I guess like you said, everybody says Mercedes-Benz is a really, 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 really nice stadium, beautiful stadium. And for yourself, Brad, your first ever time going to a soccer game, first time seeing the Union live, you're probably trying to take in everything, so you're really not focusing on the chants. But I am jealous. I know I texted you and said, look, I honestly did try to get plane tickets to go down to the game tonight, but I couldn't find a return flight back to Baltimore for tonight. I would have to get a hotel and then fly back in the morning, and I didn't want to do that. I'm going down June. So now, like, seeing the Union finally pick up a victory in Atlanta after they went down in the 2019 playoffs and lost to Atlanta. They went down in 2019 when Brendan Aronson nutmegged Brad Guzan, and that the Union should have won that game, but it tied. They tied 1-1. Like, seeing the Union finally get their first victory down in Atlanta, this makes me even more excited to go down to Atlanta in June.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to come to that game in June also. And and two, you're telling me that you had considered surprising me and like getting tickets to this game down here. And part of me was just like, is Todd actually still like yanking my chain? And he's like, oh, I was gonna go get tickets to go to Atlanta, but I couldn't just find it. I couldn't find the ticket to get back that night. But in reality, actually did find the ticket to get back that night and was going to be there the entire time. Up until the time you told me you were making some chicken, I was like, oh, yeah, he's at home.
Yeah, I was making chicken. I really was. Like, I really wanted to go, right? It's crazy, too. Like, my sister and I, so our flight, I was telling you, Brad, like, got delayed when we go down in June. So we're not flying out at 6:15 on Saturday. We're flying out at 8:15 in the morning now. and like we got those plane prices for $89, and now they're up to $215. So I don't even know what the plane prices are going for now. All I know is I saw no return flight home for tonight. I'm like, okay, yep, I'm not gonna mess with this. Like, it would have been a great game for me to go to, but I know I'm going down in June, and I know we will meet up and be able to see each other. But man, I'm just super excited for you. I knew you were like, I bought tickets. You were debating whether or not you want to go, and you went, and you couldn't have picked a better game, man.
Oh yeah, because I mean, I got to be to work at 7 a.m. I'm gonna get home at maybe 2, catch a couple hours of Z. I got to take a shower first, catch some Z. Be to work at 7, maybe 7:30, depends. The boss is usually pretty cool. I tell him, hey man, we'll be a little late. Pretty cool with it. But you know what? Though, going back to what you said earlier about when you and Tyler first went to to a Union game, and you guys wanted to stand the whole time, and everyone around you kept getting pissed off that you guys were standing the whole time.
Oh, don't tell me
something that I noticed. No. It's something that I noticed about the Atlanta fans. Is like everybody was in their seats. Everybody was sitting down. Everyone was in their seats. And you look around, because I was in the very like bottom corner of the Union section, and you look around at all the Union fans, and everybody's standing up. Everybody's standing up. Everybody's making noise. Everybody's, I mean, especially when we started scoring goals. I mean, after we took that first goal, I mean, I've known there was not an ass in the seat. And you look around at all the United fans, and hey, maybe if they were scoring a goal and then a second goal and then a third goal, maybe they'd all be up in their standing up in their seats also. But everyone was sitting down, man, and that's something that I didn't think about it at first until you said that.
Yeah, right. So I think this is the way it works in MLS, right? Is where every place else is sitting but the supporters section. So from where you guys were sitting, the opposite end, where the Atlanta supporters section was, yeah, they were all standing with their flags, with their drums and everything. But yeah, everything else surrounding, they were sitting. But I guess, if Atlanta would have scored a goal, then everybody in that stadium would have got up. But we all know that did not happen at all. Let's go back to, though, like some points I had from the first half. So like Tyler and I were talking about, El Brujo, he'll miss the second leg with his second yellow card. I thought for the first 10 minutes of this game, Atlanta, they pressed really, really well, caused a ton of issues for the Union. The Union struggled to pass out of that press, and we saw a lot of sloppy giveaways, a lot of sloppy passes, especially from Mbaizo, I thought. He did not do well from the pressure. I know Martinez wanted to go in and still make his hard challenges, but since he picked up that early yellow card, he really couldn't go in with challenges, which, by the way, what a joke of a yellow card. The first 5 minutes in the game, they gave a yellow card to El Brujo for such a soft foul where you look where the Atlanta players, like, I forget who they were, like, they made 2 harder challenges on that. Didn't even get a yellow card. Like, it took them until the second half to get a yellow card, and some of these challenges they were putting on the Union, it's like, yeah, you know you have yellow cards in your pocket for the Atlanta players, right, Raf? But one thing I do want to say, I don't know if, like, people notice this, I do think every time the Union did get fouled, I think the Union were smart, they were clever, where they made the tackle, they made the injury look worse than what it was, just to buy some time for them to catch their breath on defense, because Atlanta really were bringing it to the Union in the first half. And so you would see Mbaizo go down, you'd see El Brujo go down, you would see these guys like get tackled, and they would make it so much worse than what it really was, which is clever. But I was sitting there like, okay, look, if another team was doing this to the Union, I would be irate, and we would definitely be irate in the River End, giving it to the players like, oh, take them off the pitch, take them off. Look, Tyler, you know it. People say, shoot them like a horse, shoot them like a horse when a player's down on the ground.
Oscar nominee,
right,
Golden Globe, he's an actor.
Like, if people were doing that against the Union, we would be saying the same thing, but Martinez and Mbaizo, these guys knew what they were doing. But again, I mean,
I'd say there was a little bit of that in the second half too.
it was.
There was a couple where I'm looking at it and I'm like, and I mean, and the United fans rightfully so sort of booing Martinez, and I'm looking around at the Union fans and we're all sort of quiet because we're like, yeah, he knows what he's doing. Yeah, he barely got touched there. But it's okay.
Oh yeah, I think there comes that moment where you have to recognize what's happening is just pure gamesmanship that the Union are doing, and you have to kind of just sit there and be like, like Todd said, if it was happening to us, we'd be sitting there in the river end pissed. But it's for us on the opposite side, it's just like I said, gamesmanship. There's the reason I said that, not shithousery, because that's what it was.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to invite somebody else to speak. I know maybe you guys requested to speak. Like I said, I'm still learning out speaker, first time using it. But it's pretty cool. So if you don't want to speak, it's all good. But I'm going to invite Mike because Mike always has good just thoughts about the Union. So Mike, if you don't want to accept that to speak, it's all good. But man, I just can't believe that the Union played the way that they played in the first half, didn't get scored on. Look, Jamir Montero, dude was everywhere tonight, right? As the number 10, look, I do think he's a better number 8, but he continues to show that he's probably the best playmaker on this team. And I know he was supposed to play the number 10. He was playing the number 10, but this guy didn't care about leaving his spot. He would go ahead and just track back to defense, win the ball back for the Union if he needed to, and he did. And it just goes back to us talking about this team is such a team, not superstars. Like, they all know their spots. They know what it takes to win. And Jamir Montero just continues to be Jamir Montero. So, Mike, I see that you accepted speaker. What are your thoughts on tonight's game, man?
Man, I mean, that first half stunk, but the second half more than made up for it. And now I'm just sort of enjoying watching all the Atlanta fans freaking out on social media and stuff. It's pretty,
Twitter is a mess.
Pretty entertaining. Yeah. Oh man, and boy, do they hate us now.
Hey, go down there.
I mean, that's always the slogan of the team, right? No one likes us. No one likes us.
Oh, that would chant was several times through the night. Every time the United fans would start heckling us. Every time.
I don't think they realize how much we revel in it.
Oh, yeah.
all the call-outs. I know Rich Laurie, who's listening, I know he's sort of looking for those whiny Atlanta fans and just to call them out. But, man, I don't know. What a night, man. It's funny because, like, not to counter chickens before they hatch, but, like, hopefully next week just turns into a victory lap.
That's what I'm hoping. Hey, Rich, like Mike said, you're listening. I just gave you the opportunity to speak. I know you're loving it, Rich, seeing all these people complain.
Oh, please, everyone, do yourself a favor and take a look at that Atlanta United hashtag. It is so funny. The funniest tweet I saw tonight was the guy said, well, at least we won in the soccer integrity category.
Is there a trophy for that?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
honestly, if you think about Brujo being suspended, though, man, it's a good thing they scored all those goals. Huh?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. I mean,
that's what made the first half so miserable was, my God, we're looking so bad. It's just inevitable that Atlanta's going to score. Now we don't even have El Brujo for the second leg. Like, oh, this could not be going worse for us.
Absolutely.
And then, 3 away goals makes all the difference in the world. Oh my gosh!
So now that we're talking, can we talk about right before we went into halftime where Mbaizo had the chance to shoot the ball and he cuts it back and nobody's there in the position? I wanted him to shoot the ball so bad. It reminded me of Ray Gaddis just not feeling confident enough to shoot the ball. I'm like, what are you doing, Mbaizo? Test Guzan, test him.
Yeah, because I think the worst that happens in that scenario is, I mean, if the shot goes wide, it goes wide, and they get it for a goal kick. But at least you should put the ball on, so if he deflects it, you get the corner out of it, and maybe we score that header a little bit sooner and have 4 goals going into the second leg. But, I mean, it is what it is. I think we're all going to sleep a lot comfortably, even with Brujo missing the second leg with this 3-0 victory and 3 away goals.
Yeah, absolutely. Rich, what are your thoughts, man? I mean, to see us we should have been down at halftime. Going to halftime tied 0-0. See Sergio Santos come on, make the difference. Jim, look, people always give Jim slack, say, oh, he doesn't know how to make game-changing substitutions. Sergio was a huge one. As soon as he came on, he made an instant impact. As soon as he came on, he got fouled. His speed is a difference maker.
It really did raise some eyebrows when Corey Burke was in the starting lineup, because he really hasn't had many minutes at all. But generally I've come to just trust that Jim knows what he's doing, because every time I doubt him, something like this happens and I end up getting proved wrong. But so I thought, yeah, maybe he knows something we don't. Maybe he's been training really well, whatever. But he just wasn't with the game at all. I mean, it was obvious. And that last play with Mbaizo really showed kind of the issue. He's just not on the same page with anybody. He's not sharp. He's not communicating well. And Mbaizo had the ball. It looked like Burke was going to, step back, take the ball around the penalty spot and have a shot. And that's what Mbaizo looked like he thought. And that's where he played the ball. But at the last second, Burke decided to run near post and the pass goes nowhere. But yeah, I mean, Santos comes in, completely changes the game. His hold-up play was just spectacular. It's amazing how he can hold off two defenders, have the ball, look over his shoulder and find that pass and complete it,
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was one of the more impressive games I've seen from Santos, and he only played the half.
Yeah, it's crazy. Look, and we all know Sergio Santos is coming back from an injury, and I would still argue that he's not 100% fit, but maybe he is, because we saw him go 62 minutes against Atlanta, which is his average since he's been a Philadelphia Union player. But he was so good tonight, and he had a chance to score a goal, but look, he tested Guzan, and it didn't matter if he scored or not, because we were already up 3-0, but man, I mean, let's talk about that pass, right? We were just talking about Jamiro Monteiro being the best creator, but that pass that Sergio played over the top, what a ball by Sergio Santos. Whoever wants to take this, Mike, Tyler, Brad, Rich, all you guys are able to speak. All of you guys at the same time, go for it. I mean, just what a pass, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think Rich said it great. Just to touch on this real quick, there obviously is a liability factor in Mbaizo. I think we saw that in the end of the game as well, when Torreira is making that run in, and Mbaizo absolutely gets bullied off the ball by him, and Glaznes has to come back and save him, or it might have been Elliott, but so it was a very clutch tackle that could have ended ugly. And you never want to give up that one away goal. But yeah, I think Sergio Santos absolutely came on the field and was lights out with the energy. And he always does this with his pace. But the passes, the small presses, you saw, I believe it was in the 60th minute. Santos makes a great pressure at Guzan, and Guzan does not know what to do with the ball. I think if he does a lot more of that, you're going to see a lot more goals from this Union team because of him.
Look, I don't remember. Yeah, I think I did. I think I said Sergio Santos would be the Union's leading goal scorer this season. Yeah, it's still early in MLS play. He has 0 goals, right? He's coming back from injury. But Casper can't score in MLS, but can sure score in CCL, right?
Hey, I'll take it. If he can keep providing like this. And one thing that it doesn't get overlooked, but it's always talked about. I think his hold-up play tonight with kind of sticking back, not always staying forward like he does, and getting tired and getting worn out, and then the load has to be carried to somebody else in the front. We didn't see that tonight, or at least I don't think I saw that tonight. I think everybody came out with high energy. Once, like you said, they unlocked the press with the first goal. It was all Union. They played beautiful football, and I think we could look very, very scary down the line if we keep playing like this. And Mbaizo strengthens himself, or maybe it was a lack of communication. We'll never know. But it's great things looking forward for sure. I'm very excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hopefully we can see some goals against New York City, right? Because we know we can score in CCL. Now let's see if we can transfer that to MLS play. But not worried at all. But, man, I can't believe it. Our first year in this competition, we've yet to concede a goal in CCL play. We're scoring left and right. Casper seems like, oh, yeah, he has all this experience in the world playing in this competition in his third game, and scored 2 more goals, has 4 goals now in the competition. Look, just when we criticize Ernst, this front office saying, "Oh, we need a striker," which, by the way, I do think we still need another striker. But here's Casper
Agreed.
producing the goods. Brad, just going back to you, like people that are just joining, you were at this game. You're driving back now to Knoxville. Just what are your emotions, man?
Yeah, I'm definitely glad I decided to pull the trigger on this game, for sure. And like I said earlier, came in like right at the second half, and I got to my seat. Had to stop and use the bathroom before I got to the seat, but got there like about 30 seconds after play started. And I mean, and that was the good thing too. Is as soon as because I had my Union hoodie with me, and I kept it. Didn't keep it wrapped up. I mean, I just wasn't wearing it because it's a nice night in Atlanta. But had it wrapped up as soon as I got there and got to my seat. Pulled the hoodie out, put it on, and everyone's like, "Yeah, all right, awesome, cool." So it's a very that was cool to meet at least some of the people. They didn't really catch any names because it was a soccer game to watch, but and yeah, everybody was really cool, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that they would show that you guys celebrate. A lot of times
right?
that show away fans, but yeah, we didn't even I don't think they even showed you guys one time.
No, exactly.
I wondered if they would.
No,
Usually they do.
Yeah, all they wanted to show was the Atlanta fans, and especially I don't want to make this political, right? Especially the Atlanta fans not wearing masks and everything. It's like, come on now.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta love it down south.
We can see their sad faces a little better, though. That was good.
There is a really good picture going around on Twitter of the Union fans.
Yeah, the Union posted it. Oh, cool. Look that up.
All right, but Jarrett Knisley, one of the capos for the Sons of Ben, he is in this conversation with us for speaker. And Jarrett, so I tweeted, since you're a capo, when are we going to get that Liam Flock chant?
Man, I don't know. It's like I'm definitely not like the chant guy. That's more of Adam's thing. I'm just the loud guy who runs around screaming. So, I mean, I'm sure we can come up with it. I mean, people have already started chanting "What the flock," so it's not a chant, but I mean, it's something.
It is something.
But yeah. Also, first off, Todd, how the heck did you get Spaces?
I don't know. It's a great question.
Conspiracy.
I don't know. I saw Alexi Lawless was doing Spaces the last couple of weeks, and so on my lunch break, like I'll go and click on it, and then I saw that I was available, like it was available for me to host the Spaces, and I'm like, okay, let's try this out. And well, here we are, and it's pretty cool, not gonna lie, and like seeing people come in and out and giving different people the opportunities to talk. And I think a couple of Union fans started another Spaces conversation a few minutes ago, and I don't know, I knew it was in trial, but they were like, oh, here's Spaces. I'm like, okay, let me try it out. So yeah, it's a cool place,
Yeah,
I've
been in a few.
Good.
Yeah, I've been in a few. I was on with Alexi Lawless one time. I was just on earlier tonight. I was on with a bunch of Atlanta United fans, so that was interesting. But I haven't hosted one myself yet.
Atlanta United fans.
This is what I've been telling you.
That was it was after the game. Like one of their guys like went live, and do you remember? Were you on when Pancake Bobby was on Happy Hour?
No, I wasn't. But, so what were they saying after this game? Was it just trashing us?
No, they weren't trashing us. Like I went in, I was like, "Yo, guys, like I'm not here to bash you." I did not think we were gonna win this game at all. But they were more just like upset at themselves and just like, you're like, "Oh, is it time for Heinze or whatever his hex name is? Is it time for him to go?"
What?
Just like, dude, no joke.
Isn't he new?
He is new. He is new.
Yeah.
Oh, so they're taking what Tottenham fans did to Jose to like the 10th degree. That's nice.
I mean, I'm not 100% sure. It's like it made us be that post-loss depression. Like I'm not 100% sure what it was, but like they were all very chill, obviously very like frustrated, but they gave us lots of props. Said like Andre Blake played out of his mind. Like we have such a good thing going. But they're definitely annoyed about how much they lean on Martinez. And how
for sure.
Yeah, like I I mean, like, and I just don't understand. Like, I understand, like, he's like one of your best players, but like, he's coming back from injury. He's not 100% healthy, and you're trying to be like, hey, go win a CCL game. Like, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't
Well, I
matter.
think it's because they got so used to that, being like, oh, well, if all else fails, give the ball to Martinez and he'll score. And then when he doesn't, he gets shut down. They're lost. That's exactly how they look.
Yeah.
Well, this is the first time the Union have ever shut down Joseph Martinez. Like I said earlier, 7 goals in 7 games for Joseph against the Union. And look, I mean, he's coming off an ACL injury. He's probably not 100% yet, but you can tell that he was linking up well with his teammates. I forget who it was in the second half that he played in, and Andre Blake again made another good save. Joseph didn't really have too many chances to score on the Union, but he was linking up well, I thought, with his teammates. But just Andre Blake, what a guy. Brad, you were saying something there before we were talking about, Atlanta fans, if you remember.
If it was something I started to say, I don't know.
That's all good, man. So let's go ahead. Go, Jarrett.
Yeah, how were the fans like towards you guys in the stadium? Because I went in, I think 2019 when Aaronson's got scored, and I got like a lime thrown at my head after that.
Oh, wait, a lime?
Yeah, so full disclosure, I was like taunting them a little bit because we scored first, and so like there was a fan chirp behind me, and so like I just kind of like started like wagging my middle finger back and forth, or like my middle finger was talking at them, and so I got a lime thrown at my head after they tied it up. So I was just curious what the fans were like towards our group down there.
I can't believe
The real question is, where did that guy get a lime?
He took it from his Cuba Libre that he got at the bar.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So the United fans, United fans, I think the people who were closer to us were nicer, and the farther away they were, the more angry they were. There's your usual taunting back and forth, like I was telling Todd. There's your how many MLS Cubs do you have? Well, it's like, well, stop living in the past. That was 3 years ago.
The old Yankee method.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. How many trophies do you have? I'm like, well, I mean, count the supporter shield. 1. We're on our way to 2. There was one guy after the 3rd goal. I swear he was about 100 yards away, just turned around and he was just screaming at us. And no one could understand what he would say, so we just chanted, "No one likes us," right back at him. Yeah, you could see his red face against his white shirt from 100 yards.
That's amazing. Really? I'm kicking myself that I wasn't there.
That's what I said, right? Just couldn't find that return flight home at night. But it's all good. Going in June. Super excited to go into that game. Super excited, though, to go to this game against New York City, as I'm sure everybody here listening is. But Ricky Zelfer requested to talk. So, Ricky, go ahead. You have the floor. Go ahead. Speak your mind, man.
Give him a second to get connected. There he is.
Ricky?
Oh, you were talking to me? Do you hear me?
I am. I do hear you.
No, my thing just went out right when I'm walking home through the streets of Westchester right now, as you do. And I was just thinking along the lines of I was really thinking about going to Atlanta for this game. Somebody convinced me otherwise.
Ooh.
And so now I'm probably going down in June because of that person.
Let's go.
And in my head, I'm just like, oh, this would have been a really cool game to be at, because it kind of reminds me of the last game at RFK Stadium, where it was like, oh, I don't expect anything, and then you go to RFK Stadium and beat the crap out of DC United 4-0. And I was just like, it would have been really cool to be there, but like Todd said, I found flights that were like $124, and I was like really, really thinking about it. And then I'm just like, it's a Tuesday night, midweek game after the Miami game. I don't know how it's going to go for us. Maybe it's a good idea to not go. I only have so much PTO time, you know what I'm saying? You got to think about these things when you're flying to Atlanta.
You do. Or, have a whole bunch of vacation days you need to use before you lose them. So it's like, oh, let's go ahead and take off the rest of the weekend. That's why we're staying up and not in bed right now, hosting the Spaces. And appreciate everybody that's listening in so far, people that have spoken. But Ricky, your boy Anthony Fontana, look, you were like, what's the starting lineup going to be? And I said, not Fontana, but he does come on like he always does and scores a goal off the bench.
I'm getting sick of this, honestly. It's kind of annoying that we're going through this conversation again with Montero being the 10 when like 2 years ago we were like, oh, could he be the 10? And now he's like playing great. And it's like, yeah, he played great against the Saprissa. And now it's like, yeah, we continue to play great, but you can't at the beginning of the season go, Anthony Fontana's the guy, and then 2 games later be like, well, he can't play forward, so we might as well have him as our bench option. Kind of frustrating for me. And I said at the beginning of the game, I was like, in my head at this point, Anthony Fontana has to be like on the phone with his agent every single season. Like, Jim refuses to play me no matter what. And then it's like, oh, he scores all these goals at the end of last season. Oh, he's going to be the guy. Oh, let's bring in this German-American kid, and then he'll start on the left side of the midfield. And now Anthony Fontana is just a bench option. It's just like frustrating. But, you know, my Anthony Fontana bromance holds no, bounds, obviously. We all know that.
Absolutely.
It's a worthy bromance.
Look, Anthony should have no problem being the Philadelphia Union's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Look, he made a career out of that from Manchester United. I know you're a Manchester United fan, Jarrett, so big fans of Ole coming off the bench, scoring goals for Manchester United. So, look, Anthony can make a career doing that, but obviously when you're that young, you're going to want to be starting games. And when you see Mark McKenzie, Brendan Aronson at a similar age make the move to Europe because they were getting consistent minutes, performing consistently week in, week out for the Union, Anthony Fontana has got to be thinking the same thing. But look, having a proven goal scorer coming off the bench, I have nothing wrong with that. But let's go ahead and bring in somebody else that's requested to speak. It is Bora Union, I think it says one here. You were live to talk, so go ahead, man.
Hey, how you doing, guys? I appreciate the invite, and this is a big win overall for all of us. The biggest thing I want to bring up is that I was here for the Atlanta game versus the Union where Aronson scored, and overall, the Atlanta fans are very polite. I know a few people are a little bit mad about like reactions, but hey, if somebody scores 3 on you, you'll be mad too. So I didn't really pay too much attention to it. My biggest thing of the first half on this game was Andre was huge. Like, Atlanta brought everything. They threw the kitchen sink on us, and on the supporter section, pretty much we were like behind Andre's gate. So we saw all his stops, and we kept screaming Andre Blake the whole time because he pretty much saved us. And after he pretty much calmed the fire, that's when Jim Curtin's tactic came up. I think it was good that he gave I forgot his name now, but I think it's good that he gave the Jamaican guy, I really apologize. Yeah, Curry. I think it was good he gave him precious time at the beginning of the game where I would have gave him that time after. Like, I would have rather start Anthony Fontana and gave Corey that late time, but I don't know what Jim is seeing in the locker room that maybe he saw it the other way. And in reality, it paid off. He put Fontana, he scored. So we cannot really be mad about it. Being there I have no words for it. Like, the first score, all the Atlanta guys I talked to, they were like, man, Casper is a pain in the ass. That guy can really block everybody and can really play, fight for positions. And Montero and Martinez, I think they have been the key. Montero the biggest, because once he got injured, we know everything about that playoff run we wanted, and he got injured, and the Union was never the same. And Martinez, he got that yellow card around like the 5 minute, which I was like, they're just carding him to control him. So I was surprised that Jim didn't even take him out. But we got lucky that even after a few more fouls he gave, like the ref didn't really card him again. But Martinez set the tone with how aggressive the Union could have been on the second half. And you could feel from the vibe that even the fans in the stadium were getting, because when the Union players were fighting for the ball, they stopped being scared to go for it. And that was the best feeling to manage the game. So being on the stadium was something else. I'll tell everybody that I've been in Chester to watch the Union. There's nothing better than watch the Union in Chester. But if you ever have a chance to travel and watch the Union anywhere, man, don't think about it twice. It's CONCACAF champions. This is like a once in a lifetime, because none of the games are the same ever. So whenever you guys can travel. It's a family environment relating to how the Suns do. And I do really appreciate what Matt, Heather, Sid, how everybody manages all the travel, tailgates, at home, away. And, man, I'm just so proud of this team, how they have managed coming out of that terrible loss, because I have to say it. That was a terrible loss against Miami. And my feel about that game was more like, after we scored that goal against Miami, they thought about, like, you know what, we have this game. Now we can think about more about Atlanta. So the only thing I have to take away from that game against Miami was that they didn't close the job. They didn't finish the job against Miami, but you can definitely tell that they were 100% focused on Atlanta United. And now it's just go home, close this one, and move on to the next round. So I do appreciate you guys letting me join the conversation. I do love this team with my heart, and I enjoyed every single second of screaming for 90 minutes to support our freaking Philadelphia Union team. So I appreciate the invite, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for joining and just listening to the conversation. Just giving your thoughts about the game, going there in person. And look, that's another person that you guys just heard from that said that if you're going to travel, go to Atlanta to see the Philadelphia Union play. So now you guys are definitely like, I can't wait for June to get here to go down and see the Philadelphia Union go on and play Atlanta United in June. But look, we still have a few more games to get through before we see the Philadelphia Union go ahead and take on Atlanta down in MLS play down in Atlanta. But I just allowed Union Goal, I think your handle is on Twitter, to speak. So go, what are your thoughts? What do you want to talk about, man?
Hello, everyone. I listen to your podcast all the time, so really love it. Thank you. And I just wanted to say I'm still vibing off of this game. I was just wondering if you thought all of that absorption of pressure early on was a tactic Jim Curtin wanted to use. I can't possibly see why he would do that because they're not used to playing that way. And outside of Blake, they're not very good at it. But it worked out because the turnaround, when they didn't score in the first half, I was like, wow, this is sitting in the Union's lap. All they have to do is come out and play their attacking game. I don't know what Atlanta's going to do, but they can lose this by a goal. And it kind of blew up in Atlanta's face. Not sure if that was a tactic or that's the way it was. Another thing I was thinking about is, could the Union players hear each other? Was it that loud in Atlanta, in Mercedes-Benz Stadium? I know a couple of you guys were down there. That pitch was a mess to me. The ball was bouncing and ridiculous hops. I don't know if that slowed them down a little bit also. And Fontana at the 10, I don't know. I mean, it would definitely be more valuable to the Union should they sell him in the future as a number 10 than an 8. But I don't know. I don't know if you want to take Montero out of that situation as the number 10 for the Union because he's invaluable.
Absolutely.
That's all I have.
Hey, yeah, I appreciate it, man. You're right. He, Montero, like, how do you take him out of the 10 spot when he's playing so well? He had against Saprissa in the second leg, 2 goals, 2 assists. Played a big game. I know he didn't have an assist or goal against Atlanta, but like we were talking about a little bit earlier, just doing that running off the ball stuff, running back. Yeah, he's supposed to play the number 10, but he's running back on defense, winning the ball back, helping Kai Wagner on the left side of the field with the press. Brad, I know you're still a speaker, but he asked, how could the Union players hear each other just because the noise level seems so loud in the stadium? How loud was it down in Atlanta?
I think it was pretty loud. I had the game on. I had the game on my phone as I was still making my way like to the stadium. And I thought, if I remember correctly, I think they said on the broadcast that there were some, am I right in thinking they said 20,000 people in attendance?
Yeah, that's what they said on the broadcast.
Yeah, 20,000 people in attendance. So, I mean, it was loud for sure. But I think there was definitely a couple of moments where you could hear players on the field. So I think they could have heard each other. I think honestly you could tell that there was definitely times where there was a little issue. At least from who was Atlanta? I don't know the name of Atlanta's goalkeeper, but I think yes. And it was funny too. My name was Brad, and there's a lot of anti-Brad chant going on. But it was fine though. It's a different, wrong Brad. He's not the right Brad.
Yeah, exactly. We all hate you, Brad. Man, you did such a bad job producing this podcast. That's why I had to take over for you, Brad. Come on, man. Everybody's anti-Brad.
I'm just saying, man. Brad. And they're butchering the audio, I tell you.
So bad, man. How to get rid of you. Oh, man. Yeah, if only it was like that.
You do it much. You do it well. You do it well.
Yeah, I don't do it like you, but adding the roadcaster definitely saves some time from really diving in, doing what you were doing when, like we said earlier, Tyler and I talking about the Premier League. But let's go ahead and get to Drew. He requested to speak. So, Drew, the floor is yours. Thoughts on this game against Atlanta, man?
Can you guys hear me? I was just connected.
Yeah, yep, hear you.
Yep. Yeah. So I want to talk a couple, three quick points. Blake, the Fontana, Montero dilemma, and then just the identity of this team. First, Todd, I don't know if you remember, I was actually on your pod back in January, and I was the one who talked about Andre. I think Andre Blake will go down as the greatest Union player in history. And I think just nights like tonight just prove why I think he eventually will be, because that guy came up huge in a game that early on could go completely upside down, and we could go down 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, you name it. He had a number of big saves. But that guy is just so invaluable, and when you have a keeper like that, and you can have confidence in a guy like that, that just opens you up. And then in terms of this Fontana-Montero situation, I love Fontana. I think he's great, but I think he's an all-or-nothing type of guy, meaning he's going to get you goals or he really isn't going to contribute a whole lot for you. And Flock's come in, and if you really watch Flock, especially on the defensive side of being a number 8, he's been fantastic on that end of it. And when we get into the dog days of summer, I think you'll see more of a rotation with him maybe spelling Bedoya and having Montero at the 8 and Fontana at the 10. But right now, with the way Flock's playing, I think Fontana, unfortunately, just gets relegated to that bench. And then lastly, in terms of the identity of the team, I always, I love for the Union in individual games and individual seasons, I love for them to win, but I also like to look at it at the grand scope and see how can they kind of find their way in Philadelphia and Philadelphia sports fans' minds. And this game is a quintessential example of why I think they can really make a dent, because this team's just they just stand up and they're fighters, man. And it's fun to watch them because they just, they'll claw and they'll scratch and they'll fight and they'll get in people's faces and they'll make hard tackles. And then they'll come by after, being beaten down for 45 minutes and come back and hit you in the mouth like they did this second half. And, I just think for them, the style they play just fits Philadelphia so well. And I'm excited as we continue to go through this season and the Champions League to kind of see how they start being received by the city, especially when, the Flyers are as bad as they are and the Phillies are mediocre at best. And I really think this team can really make a dent in the city because I feel like it identifies with the city. And that's kind of just what I wanted to kind of put out there and interested to hear what you guys think on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate it, Drew. And I definitely do remember having you back on the podcast. I can't believe it was all the way back in January. It feels like, time's flying by, especially with, we're still dealing with COVID and everything. And I feel like for myself, and I'm sure with you guys too, just that dealing with COVID last year in 2020, 2020 feels like such a blur and everything. And I don't know, once 2021 hit and everything, just throwing out so many episodes with the Trivia Podcast games and brought people on to do different interviews, find out how they became fans and everything. So I do remember that conversation that you said, yeah, Andre Blake will go down as the best Philadelphia Union player in club history. Look, whenever his time's up, he's without a doubt going into the Ring of Honor, right? I don't know. I think somebody said on Twitter, let's rename the stadium. I think it was Mike Thomas. Let's rename the stadium after Andre Blake. Look, we've already seen 3 name changes. What's a 4th name change to the stadium? But Andre Blake, what a game that he had. Love Andre Blake, and hopefully he can just continue his form. I was thinking about this too. Look, we already know Andre Blake's the best goalkeeper in MLS. Why not the best goalkeeper in North America, right? I mean, maybe there's people here that are listening that watch Liga MX, but I've got to imagine Andre Blake's one of the best in North America, if not the best in North America. Just what a guy Andre Blake is. Let's go ahead to Evan. He requested to speak. So, Evan, the floor is yours. Thoughts on this game?
Hold on. Can you guys hear me? I'm having issues with this.
Yep, we can hear you.
All right. Sorry, I'm totally new to the Spaces thing. I've got a couple points, basically just reiterating a lot of things. And the last point about the kind of Philly, embodying Philly through this game, I guess, it's for us to sit back and be, quite frankly, terrible for 45 minutes, just trying to survive through. The one counter attack we had was just embarrassing, watching Casper fumble over his own feet. And just to watch us not really play particularly well in the second half either. Obviously, we picked it up a lot. But to take that, I guess, momentum and to take our chances. And it just kind of gives me that, no one likes us, we don't care kind of vibe, if that makes any sense. It's a very Philly win. It felt very reminiscent of Eagles wins that they pull out here and there and all that. And so I really did think in this quest for finding a little bit more of a footing in Philadelphia sports, maybe stuff like this is a big deal. Obviously, continental success is always going to matter, but I just felt the way we did it was kind of like a really good embodiment of the city and all that good stuff. So I guess that's kind of my first one. And then the other thing is just simply about the way we played tonight, which was it's player specific. I've loved Leon coming in and he's made an immediate impact. And the way he hustles to the ball, the way he does those simple technical things getting back, I absolutely love. Almost like a little bit more of a cleaned up Martinez, if that makes any sense. And then my main thing is Jamiro in the middle has been, he adds that creativity I think we lacked a lot last season. I said it during the playoff game, we were so direct, so there's just nothing there. And watching him make runs, checking to the ball, kind of just creating the stuff that we were missing makes me want to put him in over Fontana just about every day. And nothing against Fontana. I love seeing him come in and score, but it's really exciting to see. And then the other part of that is Sergio Santos has been watching in person the other night, 4 or 5 rows up. He's sprinting to everything. He's kind of getting into this new space. While I see nothing against Casper, he had 2 goals and he was great, but kind of just watching Casper stand there and Sergio opening up the defense and opening up the back line and all that. It's just this level of excitement and creativity that I really don't associate with this team in the past. And it's really exciting to watch if we can kind of keep this up. And so that kind of ends my big rant, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I
think that's a good point about Philly for sure, about how he embodies this team and how much of a Philly impact game this was, especially when you say, like Todd brought up earlier, when you have tough guys like El Brujo who will just bully people off the ball. I think that does embody like the Philly way, the grittiness. I mean, look at the Flyers, and they make a mascot out of it, for Christ's sakes. I think that's a very good point in saying it's a very Philly impact statement.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And there was one point, I forget, sorry, who asked it. It was either Union Goal or, crap, why am I forgetting your name? I'm looking at it right here. Or Bora Union. One of you guys brought up, was it a tactic for the Union to absorb all that pressure? No, I don't think so. I don't think the Union wanted to absorb all that pressure. If it wasn't for Andre Blake, like we talked about earlier, the Union could have been 2-3 goals down. Andre Blake's Andre Blake. There's a reason why he won Goalkeeper of the Year last season. And with us to go into halftime tied 0-0, Jim Curtin didn't have to completely throw out his ideas how to get the Union to score a goal. Look, they did a good enough job to deal with the pressure to get this game to go into halftime tied 0-0. And it's like, okay, let's throw out Sergio Santos. Corey Burke, Kasper Schrebelko, in my opinion, both of those guys are kind of the same striker, right? They both 6'4". They both make the same type of runs. They're both tall bodies, not the fastest guys. Kasper Schrebelko might be a little bit slower than Corey Burke. But yeah, I don't think it was the Union's idea to absorb all that pressure. They probably knew that they were going to get the pressure because, look, it is Atlanta United. They do have a good attack. And they survived the first half. And it seems like, Atlanta United wasted all of their chances in the first half. I know they hit the crossbar a couple times, but that's soccer. That's going to happen sometimes where you're going to face an opposition that has a really, really good goalkeeper. And they're just going to play really, really well and save their team points. Look, I've talked about this on the podcast where Andre Blake's good to save you 8-9 points this season. And I know this wasn't an MLS game, but this performance from Andre Blake could have saved us in CCL. Now we go into Subaru Park with 3 away goals. Atlanta's going to have to come out and attack us. There's going to be no sitting back, absorbing pressure. And so I'm expecting a lot of counterattack play from the Union when Atlanta comes to Chester next week. But I see the guys from MLS Gone Wild are in here. What are you guys' thoughts? I'm not sure which one of you guys are in here, either Mike or Blem. Maybe it's both of you guys. But what are your thoughts? And thank you guys for joining.
I think they might be trying to figure out how to access the mic. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Sorry, I was talking that whole time. You guys couldn't hear me. So throughout the first half, if you guys were following my Twitter, I was talking about how Sosa was dictating the play and I think it was obvious that Atlanta was dominating the game, but they're just lacking a goal-scoring touch for Atlanta. And the beauty of Philadelphia is you guys just know how to win. And Jim Curtin just has this swagger about him. For Christ's sake, this man had the hoodie on tonight with the brand new Duke, the swagger on him. He just looked good. What do they say? Hoodie Mello when he was playing basketball. It's like hoodie Jim Curtin. But, he came out, he absorbed all that pressure in the first half, and he even decided to absorb more pressure in the second half and commit himself to the counterattack. And he subbed out Corey Burke for Sergio Santos. And he really complements that offense so much more with Jameer Montero and Kasper Schrebelko. And they really and then they brought in Fontana, and they really just encompassed that counterattack. And despite Atlanta dominating that game, Philadelphia just looks like a team that no matter how much you dominate them and how much you impose their will on them, they're going to win the ball game. And I'm a Columbus Crew fan, and, week 1 of the MLS season, it was a 0-0 tie. It was back and forth, and those are both really good teams. And I think Philadelphia is just a little bit more poised to go further in this tournament than Atlanta is.
Yeah, I think so, especially going down to Atlanta scoring 3 goals, which we talked about this earlier, where Atlanta has not lost a game at all in CONCACAF play at home. And the Union go down there, survive the first half, and come out and score 3 goals in the second half. And Rich, I'm seeing what every single Atlanta fan saying on Twitter now. This is great. Keep retweeting everything you're retweeting, man. They are very, very upset. And like we were talking about, look, Andre Blake, he's good enough to win you 8 or 9 points a game, season. Sorry. And he won all 3 points here for the Union tonight. And I do think the Union are a better team than Atlanta United right now, especially because, look, I've talked about this too on the podcast, where you look at Cincinnati, where people love the moves they made in the offseason. And we know, you know, as a Columbus fan, where Caleb Porter's put together that team the last couple years, and kind of the same way the Union have been made the last couple years. They have a core group of players that are still with the team. They know how the team wants to play, where Cincinnati, where Atlanta United, they bring in new coaches, they bring in new players. They're not gelled together like Columbus, like Philadelphia Union. So it's going to take time. Columbus, and they scare me, right? Very good team. We saw them first week of MLS play. Both of these teams gave it their all, tied 0-0. I know Columbus won at their full strength, but it's wouldn't that be something to see Columbus versus the Philadelphia Union and CCL in the finals? Now, granted, both teams need to get past the quarterfinals. I think Columbus plays tomorrow night. So good luck to Columbus, because look, yeah, they're an MLS team, and we're supposed to hate MLS teams, right? But I think in this international competition, we want to see all MLS teams do well and have a whole CCL final of just 2 MLS teams. But just thank you guys for giving your thoughts. And before we get out of here, Drew, I see wants to give one more thought. So, Drew, I will go ahead and once the technology allows me to bring you back in, I will bring you back in. You were back in, Drew. But just for everybody that's listening, everybody that's giving their thoughts, thank you guys. Everything is going to be put into a podcast. So since we started this, I started recording. So for people that joined late, people that started early, whatever the case may be, everything's going to be in here. So to hear different people's thoughts, if you guys didn't hear everything, it all will be on here. And if you guys, for whatever reason, aren't following the podcast on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, got to get that plug in. Follow at Free Kick Pod. Check out the podcast, the Free Kick podcast.com, or wherever you get your podcast. Check out the Free Kick, Todd Lewis. But Drew, just real quick, what are your thoughts you want to bring up now?
Yeah, just before I do, I'm not affiliated with the pod, but I endorse the pod, and it's fantastic. Definitely worth checking out. It's great stuff. Well, I just want to comment on Union Goals' question on whether it was a plan to absorb all that. I don't think it was a plan, but I think it was a honest recognition that in Atlanta they were going to get, they were going to be on the front foot, and I think that's indicated by putting Burke in. When you have 2 guys like Burke and Przybylka who can hold the ball, that's a recognition that you're going to be taking a lot of being on the defensive foot a lot of the time, and you have to play it out, have them hold it, and that's how you're going to transition out. And you don't do that if you have Santos in there, because he runs off, and it's easier to go from a defensive footing to Santos in the sub. So I would anticipate when they think they're going to be on the offensive foot, like you see, they thought they would be with Miami, I would anticipate they would be with New York. You're going to see a Santos, because that gives you a more offensive dynamic. But when you're away in Atlanta, while I don't think they were defensively planning to take as much pressure as they did, they fully anticipated that that's what they were going to get. So I just wanted to put my kind of 2 cents in on that. But great. I love the pod, and anybody who's listening that's not following, make sure you follow it, because it is fantastic.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Drew. And yeah, Drew, I appreciate that. And love getting, any criticism, whether it's good or bad. I'm here for all of it. So, if there's things that people want me to change, if there's things people like, look, I will take anything, because I'm here to just give the fans, because look, we're all fans. I'm here to give you guys the best content that we deserve. And that's what I do love about this team, is how it all feels so exclusive. Look, there's other Philadelphia Union podcasts that do a great job too. And there's just not enough people talking about this team, especially in the city. We talked about how the Flyers are struggling a little bit. Tyler, I know you're a Flyers fan, and myself.
I don't want to talk about it.
Being a Penguins fan. Yeah, I mean, guys were riding that high last season, and then then you got the Phillies, and I know the 76ers are looking like a pretty dominant team in the NBA, but yeah, the Philadelphia Union should be the number one team right now in the city. But you know, slowly but surely,
they're definitely proving it's a 5-for-5 city.
Definitely, we got to start there, right? But slowly but surely, I feel like we'll start turning heads. But we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Definitely will make this a tradition. I mean, I think at one point we had 20 people here in the speaker. Not bad for a first time doing this. Like I said, people that joined late, we recorded this from the beginning till now the very end. So you guys can go ahead, check out the pieces and everything. I'll post this podcast right after we get off. So you guys can find this thing Thursday morning. But everybody that spoke, give the thoughts about this Atlanta game. Thank you guys so much. But like I said, the next episode should be with Roberto Abramowitz, who's the play-by-play commentator for NYCFC. We'll preview that game. I'm not sure when we'll record. Still discussing that, but hey, at least you guys will have this episode to listen to if you guys missed anything. But until then, my name is Todd, and this is the Free Kick Podcast.